Hello everyone, Soberoni of G&D Reviews here with another event guide, this time for the Christmas 2020 event in FGO NA, Holy Samba Night. Just like with all my guides, this is going to be an in-depth look at the event, covering everything from the new servants and craft essences to the best farming strategies. So to help you guys, I've included timestamps in the description down below, so you can jump ahead to whichever part of the video you need the most. I should also mention that in order to participate in this event, you need to have cleared Lost Belt 1, which means if you're a newer player, unfortunately you won't be able to participate. With all of that said, let's take a look at the new event servants. This event brings with it two brand new servants. First up, we have the welfare servant, Holy Samba or Santa. She is a ruler class servant with a max attack of 9,687 and a max HP of 11,306. She also has an AoE buster Noble Phantasm. As a welfare servant, that means she is free to obtain permanently just by completing the event. I'll go over the exact conditions required to get her a little bit later on in this guide, but suffice it to say she is a very strong servant thanks to her class and very good skill set. I highly recommend picking her up. We also have one other new servant that appears in the gacha, the 5-star Lancer Bradamante. She has a max attack of 10,833 and a max HP of 15,682. She's an AoE Lancer that specializes in farming and can offer a bit of utility to the team, so if that sounds like something you're interested in, by all means roll for her. Aside from the new servants, we also have rate ups for Martha and Ruler Martha, both of whom are pretty good servants, especially Ruler Martha, who is a limited summer servant. She's also going to be receiving a significant NP upgrade next year, so if you weren't able to pick up Ruler Martha earlier, I highly encourage you to roll for her now. And of course, just like with every event, we're going to be receiving a heap of new craft essences and command codes. Starting off with the gacha craft essences first, we have the 3-star Burning Broadcast Seat. This craft essence increases your buster card effectiveness by 3% and your NP damage by 8%. In addition, it will also increase the amount of band drops by 1 for this event, or 2 if you happen to max limit break it. This is a good budget CE for some buster servants who specialize in NP damage like Bedivere, Lubu, and Summer Jolter. Next up, we have the 4-star craft essence Ring the Bell. This craft essence increases NP gain by 15%, as well as NP damage and crit damage by 10%. It will additionally increase dumbbell drops by 1 or 2 if max limit broken. A pretty versatile craft essence for crit servants who really rely on their Noble Phantasm like Emiya, Gil, and Kuro. And finally, the last gacha craft essence is Schwispig in the Snow. This increases quick and arch card effectiveness by 10% and gives you a starting NP charge of 40%. It'll also increase mic drops by 1 or 2 if you max limit break it. This is a pretty strong craft essence for any kind of quick and arch servants that you might have, like Bradamante, Robin Hood, and Liang Yu. Moving on to the free craft essence, we have the event shop craft essence Holy Maiden's Training. This is a 5-star CE that increases your quick and buster card effectiveness by 8% and also grants 15 crit stars at the start of the battle. It'll also increase towel drops by 1 or 2 if you max limit break it. This can be a powerful craft essence for any kind of quick or buster crit servants like Ku Prototype, Santa Quetz, and Atlante Altar. Moving on to the command codes, we have the 3-star, the Dark Disciples Command Seal, which removes 1 defense up buff when attacking using the engraved card. This is a very niche command code, but it can be helpful if you put it on a support or utility servant like Media Lily or Hans. We also have the 4-star Sword of the Beginning and the End, which increases the damage of the card that it's engraved on by 1,000. Now this is just a flat damage increase, so it isn't really that much, but it's useful on pretty much every servant, especially if you have a servant with Divinity, and you can pretty much put it on any of their cards. And finally, we have the 5-star command code, the Holy Knight's Aurora, which grants 4 additional crit stars when attacking with the engraved card. Good on any kind of star generator like Santa Quetz or Saberlot, especially if you put it on their quick card. Now with the craft essences and command codes out of the way, let's take a look at the event shop. The event shop for the Christmas event is pretty standard. There are going to be 5 different currencies: the Exchange Ticket of Passion, the Lucha Belt, the Adios Mic, the Mucho Dumbbell, and the Ola Band. However, I should note that for the exchange ticket, there's only going to be 1 copy of that given to you in the event, and you're going to be using that to purchase a permanent copy of Quetzalcoatl, which we'll get into a bit later on in the guide. Aside from that though, you can use the shop currencies to buy a plethora of Ascension mats and experience. Starting off with the bands first, you can purchase 1 copy of the event craft essence, a copy of the 3-star command code, Knight's Medals, Heroes Proof, bullets, and 3-star and 4-star foes. You can exchange the dumbbells for another copy of the event craft essence, as well as the 4-star command code, Scarabs of Wisdom, Bicorn Horns, Shells, and Lancer, Rider, and Assassin pieces. The mics will exchange for 2 copies of the event craft essence, 1 copy of the 5-star command code, Spirit Roots, Reactor Cores, Talons, Lancer, Rider, and Assassin monuments, and more 4-star foes. And finally, the Lucha belts will exchange for 4 copies of Santa Quetz, as well as an additional costume, code removers, and quick arts and buster code openers. If you plan to clear out the event shop entirely, you will need 1 exchange ticket of passion, 35 Lucha belts, 3,800 mics, 3,200 dumbbells, and 2,700 bands. I should also mention that there's only going to be 4 copies of the event craft essence available in the shop, so if you do plan on max limit breaking it, you have to get lucky and get one as a drop while farming the event. And trust me, you'll be doing a lot of farming during this event because similar to Guildfest and the last Christmas rerun we just had, this is a lottery event. For those of you who don't know what a lotto is, basically you're going to be farming a certain currency, in this case towels, which you will then use to roll a lottery box that will reward you with a certain amount of prizes that you will get randomly. You can then reset the box once you've received all the prizes to refill it and repeat the process. You can do this an infinite amount of times, which is what makes lotto events ideal for farming mats and QP. Rolling the lotto boxes is going to cost 2 towels and is going to take a total of 600 towels to get everything inside of each box. Once you spend those 600 towels, or if you get the jackpot prize in the box, you can click the reset button to refill the box. However, I don't recommend resetting the box until you've completely cleared everything inside of it, even if you hit the jackpot, because resetting it means that you're going to be losing out on any of the remaining items inside the lotto box. And you definitely don't want to do that because there's going to be some amazing prizes in the lotto boxes, including lucha belts, octuplet crystals, horseshoes, fangs, bones, skill gems for every class, experience, apples, mana prisms, and QP. And because you can roll these boxes an infinite amount of times, farming lotto boxes is the absolute most efficient use of AP in the game, because you're going to be getting an incredible return on resources spent in terms of AP. There's simply no better use of apples than farming lotto events. The first 10 lotto boxes also include grand prizes, which include 4 ascension materials for Quetz, the passion ticket so you can get your permanent copy of Quetz, a crystal lore, and 4 4-star foes. So if you're just interested in unlocking Santa Quetz and the lore and the foes, all you need to do is farm 10 boxes. So at the bare minimum, I recommend farming 10 boxes in this event, but again, feel free to farm as many as you feel comfortable doing, the more the better. Now the event story is going to be a bit different than normal. The event is going to feature both an event story with a lot of main quests to complete and progress through, as well as an optional quest route called EX matches, which have various conditions but offer good prizes for completing. Both the main story quest and the EX matches are time locked. We get 1 new story quest and 1 new EX match per day, so you cannot rush through the event. It takes about 8 days before all of the main quests and EX stages are available. Additionally, to unlock each day's EX stage, you must complete the story quest for that day first. When it comes to the main story quests, most of them are structured as 2v2 boss fights. And when I say 2v2, I mean you're only allowed to bring 2 party members to the fight. With the exception of a couple of quests, most of these story missions have you bringing a support and one of your own servants to take on 2 enemy servants tag team style. And usually these matches involve your team being debuffed in some way, like with an attack down, or even possibly buffed in some battles. It's a very different style of quest, but not too difficult for the most part. If you were able to beat Lost Belt 1, you should have no issues with any of these quests. Just bring a strong support. Completing the event story also rewards you with a grail, so it is very worth doing. The EX matches play out in exactly the same way as the 2v2 story quests, in that you're going to pick a servant and a support to take into battle against another 2 enemy servants, who can buff or debuff your team in various ways. However, the difference with these compared to the story quests is that your servants begin each match with a one-time guts effect, and each match is going to cost lucha belts to enter instead of AP. Lucha belts are a currency that you can only obtain through the lottery, so they have to be spent wisely. The EX matches can cost anywhere between 1 belt to 8 belts, with the cost going up by 1 after each match. After beating a match, you're going to be rewarded with a good amount of ascension materials, and then the quest is going to be completed and can't be repeated. However, if you fail or withdraw, then the lucha belts that you paid to enter are not going to be refunded, so do be careful. And finally, to unlock Quetzalcoatl, you'll need to beat the story prologue to get a temporary copy. Once you do that, you're going to need to beat the entire event story on day 8, which is going to allow you to buy Quetz permanently from the shop using the passion ticket that you get from the 5th Lotto box. So remember, even if you clear the 5th Lotto box before day 8, you won't be able to purchase Quetz until you finish the event epilogue. Finishing the epilogue is also going to allow you to purchase additional copies of her from the shop using lucha belts so that you can increase her NP level. You can also max ascend her using the mask that you obtain from clearing the first 4 lottery boxes. There are going to be a number of ways to make farming this event much easier on yourself. For one, there's going to be a number of bonus servants who not only give you bonus bond points, but also give bonus damage. As you can see from this chart, Santa Quetz is going to have a 150% bonus damage buff for the entire event. She's also going to receive 50% extra bond points. Bradamante, regular Quetzalcoatl, Martha, and Ruler Martha also receive 50% extra bond points and have a 100% passive damage buff for the event. And then there's a whole bunch of servants who have a 20% passive bond point buff and a 50% passive buff to their attack. So using any number of these servants is going to make your farming a lot more reliable and easier. But there's also a number of craft essences you can use to make farming easier as well. As I mentioned before, the 5-star gacha CE is going to increase the amount of mic drops, the 4-star CE is going to increase the amount of dumbbell drops, and the 3-star CE is going to increase the amount of wristband drops. But most importantly, the event shop CE Holy Maiden's Teaching is going to increase the amount of towel drops, which is what you're going to be using to roll the lottery boxes. Your main strategy when you start this event is going to be getting as many of those 3-star CEs from the Friend Point Gacha as possible. Then you should focus on doing the free quests that are available so that you can get enough currency to buy all of the event shop CEs ASAP. The Holy Maiden's Teachings craft essences should be the first things you buy from the shop, and they are the most important things to buy by far because you need them for lottery farming. Make sure that you do not max limit break them though, because having 3 or more copies of them is going to give you more of a bonus than max limit breaking it does. So keep them separate unless you get extremely lucky and have 7 or more copies. But generally speaking, you want as many ticket bonus drops as possible. Once you have the craft essences, you can focus on picking up anything else you need from the shop and farming that currency, but for the vast majority of this event, you're going to want to farm for the lottery towels more than the shop items themselves. That said, in order to farm the various currencies, you're going to need to farm the repeatable free quests. But just like with the story quests and the EX matches, not all of the free quests are going to be available right away. More free quests will unlock daily as you progress through the story, and the later free quests are going to have much better drop rates than the first wave of them. So it's best to wait a few days for all of the free quests to unlock before you go crazy farming with apples. As for which free quests are the best to farm, if you're farming for the wristbands, then you're going to want to farm the Greed Labyrinth, which is the 40 AP level 90 quest with rider enemies. It unlocks on day 4 of the event. You can farm dumbbells at the Magma Coliseum, which is the 40 AP level 90 quest with berserker enemies, and that unlocks on day 5 of the event. Mics are going to be best farmed at the Front Square, which is the 40 AP level 90 quest with caster enemies, and that unlocks on day 6. And most importantly, the best place to farm the towels is going to be the Final Hell free quest, which is the 40 AP level 90 quest with archer enemies, and that unlocks on day 7 of the event. You should also keep in mind that lucha belts are only going to be obtained through the lottery boxes. So if you're in need of lucha belts, make sure you're farming for towels. It's also worth noting that there is another free quest called the Muscle Paradise that costs 5 lucha belts to enter instead of AP. This quest is going to drop a ton of mics, and it also has potential to drop Aurora Steel. And finally, the last thing to cover for this event is going to be the challenge quest. Just like with all events, there is going to be an optional challenge quest at the end of the event, and this one is going to be a boss rush battle, very similar in style to the final fight in the exhibition matches during Guildfest. You're going to be up against Asterios, Lancer Ibaraki, Moriarty, Mephistopheles, Cursed Arm Hassan, Drake, and Saber Maeve. All of them are going to have roughly around 150,000 HP, but no break bars. And each of them is going to have a special effect that either takes place when they enter the battlefield or when they die. When Asterios enters the battlefield, he's going to decrease the NP strength of all the enemies by 100%, including your back row allies. When Ibaraki dies, she's going to increase the crit rate of all her allies for 5 turns. When Moriarty dies, he's going to increase the crit strength of all his allies for 1 hit. When Mephistopheles enters the battlefield, he's going to inflict Cursed on all your party members, and he's going to apply Nullify buff for 3 times. When Cursed Arm Hassan appears, he's going to apply a 1-hit evade to all of his allies. When Drake appears, she's going to apply Ignore Invincibility to all of her allies for 3 turns. And when Maeve appears, she's going to increase the charge of all her allies by 1 and increase her own attack for 5 turns. One important thing to note about this fight is that all of the enemy effects trigger when they enter the battle, except for Ibaraki and Moriarty, who have effects that trigger when they die. Ibaraki and Moriarty's buffs are also unremovable, unlike the others. Now this quest isn't too complicated. Try not to kill Moriarty and Ibaraki at the same time, because their combination of buffs can be very deadly. So try to kill Moriarty first and then save Ibaraki for later, and every other buff and debuff that the enemies give can be removed or cleansed, so keep someone like Medea or Jean or Martha on your team so that they can remove debuffs and buffs when necessary. Removing the Mephistopheles debuff is especially important. Offensively, it's best to bring a ruler like Quetzalcoatl, a Makusa, or Martha if you have them, since they're going to take half damage from most of the enemies. Otherwise, you can try to bum rush your way through most of these enemies just using a powerful berserker like Kentoki, Ku-Alter, Herc, or Jean-Alter, since they don't have that much HP and they don't have break bars either. Servants who can stall out the enemy's noble phantasms or provide strong defensive buffs like Waver, Mosh, and Merlin are ideal here too. Now keep a couple of pointers in mind when you're heading into this event. Remember that not all of the quests are available right away. It takes about 8 days for everything to unlock, and about 4 or 5 days before the best farming nodes start to show up. So don't go too hard too early. Your immediate goal in the first 3 days should be to buy out the shop CEs ASAP so that you can maximize your ticket drop bonuses. You can also try and get the Ascension match that you're going to need from the shop early on, but focus mainly on farming the towels once the good nodes become available, because the lottery is by far the best thing to farm in the game. Finally, remember, if all you want to do is unlock Quetzalcoatl, then you'll just need to beat all of the story missions, which finish on day 8 of the event, farm 5 Lotto boxes so that you can get all of her Ascension mats and purchase her from the shop, and then use your Lucha belts to buy 4 additional copies so that you can NP5 her. And that about wraps up everything I have to say about this event. If you have any more questions, please let me know in the comments down below, and if this video did help you, please do leave a like and consider subscribing if it really helped you. If you haven't already, do follow us on Twitter, follow us on Twitch, and join the party on our Discord, all linked in the description down below. You can also check out these servant spotlights I have up for Quetzalcoatl and Bradamante so you can know if they're worth getting or not. And until next time, this is Sober Oni, signing out. Later.